Hey guys, Space Marine 658 here. Today we're going to be talking about Common UI navigation, sort of what it is, how it works, and how you can do a little bit of customization. Now, Unreal Engine, from what I've seen from Epic, have done a little bit of talks about there is some upcoming changes, mostly around the fact that they're going to be adding some more explicit custom navigation, especially because there are some kind of edge cases that they want to make easier for people. But we're going to talk about how it exists as it is now in 5.4, and when that comes out, we'll do another video then talking about that as well. So let's go ahead and jump in, and we're actually going to take a look here at my main menu. So what we have here is nothing too crazy, just a very simple menu system here with a horizontal box, and then another one here that is, a vertical box, and then a horizontal box down here. And then we have some UI up here in the top right corner, as you can see, that we want to hit. Now, with the current implementation of Common UI, the way it works is if you hit to the right or to the left, you're going to only go to wherever you actually have a UI element that it can see. So for example, if I line this UI element up here with these, I could navigate over to there so long as it was within certain bounds of the navigation. Now the problem is, if we have situations like this where we want UI to be in maybe kind of an odd spot, there isn't currently a way to navigate that. So how do we actually get there? Well, first you have to understand how actual Common UI navigation works. So the way it actually works with your controller, or if you're using a keyboard arrow keys, is essentially what it does is it basically goes through whatever you're looking at and looks for UI that it can jump to based on your navigational rules and settings. Now, if you have everything set to escape, what it does is it goes and goes, okay, I can leave the bounds, and let's say you hit down. From this button, it goes, is there anything I can go to down here? And since it pulls from the middle, it goes, okay, I can hit this, so I'm going to drop down to here. Or maybe it drops down to here, depending on how you got this set up as well. And so what you want to do is kind of set these rules up in a way that helps the navigation kind of flow. So if we come up here to our vertical box here, as you can see on my left and my up, I have it set to stop. That way, if you go to the top, you don't go any further up. It doesn't wrap around. But if you come over and go to the left as well, you don't come over here to this, which this is only meant to be interacted by keyboard and, by mouse, or by these buttons here, which I only display to our console players. But then as an example, as you can see here, I've got something on the right, and that is to actually reach up here. We're gonna see that here in a second. But there's a couple of options you have for this navigation. So you have escape, which is the one I was talking about, where you're actually allowed to escape the bounds of this widget. So if you're in a horizontal box or vertical box, you can leave that to go to a different widget. You also have stop, which means when you hit this button in this direction, it'll basically figure out, okay, is this the end of this group of widgets? If so, I'll need to stop here. So you can see here on my down, I have it set to escape, so we can go down here. But if I had this set to, instead of down, I had it set to stop, it wouldn't actually let me navigate to these buttons down here. And then below that, we have wrap. This allows you to actually have the focus wrap around. So for this bottom section here, let me actually show you this one. So for this bottom section down here, if I click left or right, I can actually go all the way through all of these buttons. And so that wrap allows that, and you can do that basically in any direction. You just want to set the wrap on depending on where exactly you're wrapping to and from. So actually go to here. So on the horizontal box you can see here, I have the left and right set to wrap. So that way, if I want my players to be able to wrap around, they can do so. If you hit down, of course, it stops, so you don't escape from this widget. And then if you hit up, you can also escape. So you can come back up here to the main menu. Now, if we come back up here, and we're looking at these options, so you got that, and you got explicit. Now, explicit will allow you to specify going to a specific widget. Now, I found that this doesn't always work depending on what your setup is. So here, if I change this to explicit, and I go to the sandbox one, which is the name of the button here, this won't actually work, except when it is basically very specific situations like this. Like this will work just fine. And this is probably one of the easiest ways to set up your main menu, so just have it set as to explicit. But if you've got multiple UI elements or things like that, I know sometimes it can get a little confused, but if you are just wanting a clear, you don't have a whole lot, you're just wanting to move to this one option, you can set it to explicit and set it to that specific widget. Now, of course, on the flip side, you also need to make sure that on this side you also have it. So let's say I set this to explicit, and we'll actually set this to go to our exit button. We'll say we want them to go to exit if they come back from this. So we come over here and we go over to the right, come back to the left, and you can see, even though I set it explicitly to go to exit, it doesn't actually do so. And that's one of the minor issues with the current version. Now they are going to update this at some point, and that'll hopefully fix a lot of those issues. But you can see here, even though I set this explicit to exit, it doesn't actually go there. It goes to the first button within this wrapper. Now, but let's say I want to actually go to that. We also have two more options down here. As you can see, we have custom, which is where you can do a specific function based on what is happening. Now, this is only applied when itself or any children are navigated from. So if you're leaving this particular widget, that's when it does the custom environment. You can also do custom boundary, which is a little bit more useful in my opinion. This is when it's actually being applied when a boundary is hit. So here, as you can see, because I'm hitting left, that's a boundary. There's nowhere for it to go. And so it'll actually move it over. So if I do boundary and then go to left widget, that'll actually allow it to go over here. Now that boundary go to left widget, that's a function that I created. So I'll show you that here in just a moment. But let's come back to our vertical box here. You can see I have this set to explicit. But if I change this to our custom boundary, and then go to right widget, so this function is something that fires off when I hit that boundary. So I actually go to this. All it is this function here. I'm just giving it a function that I've created in my widget space, and I'm just setting that focus manually. So let me actually just delete these. So we come in here, as you can see. So what's happening is as I'm hitting that boundary, it's firing off that function and moving me over here. If I hit it again, I'm coming back over here because I have those two functions. Now the cool thing about using the explicit is I don't need to do all that extra work. I can just come in here and just say explicit, go to that specific sandbox one, and then we come in here and we'll go say explicit, and let's say we don't care. We'll just say exit, whatever. We don't care that it goes to the one we want it to. If you do that, then boom, as you see here, now this time it worked. So a lot of it is just dependent on the actual widgets themselves and how you set up all the rules as far as navigation goes. But yeah, let me change it right there. And so basically that's a very simple overview of how those navigational items work, and how they can allow you to navigate somewhere you normally can't navigate to. Because for example, if I just set this all back to escape and then come back over here and take this vertical box, and we'll say right, we'll just say stop like I had it before. You can see with this now, I can only navigate to that if I am in the specific buttons that I've set to be able to navigate to that side. But anything that is not set up that way won't navigate over to that side. But yeah, let me refresh this as well. So you can see, come in here, and now it won't move over there because it doesn't actually recognize that it can go over there. But yeah, if anyone has any other questions, definitely leave them down below. This is definitely a quick one. Hopefully when they release the fully customizable navigation system, we'll have some cool new tools to play with. But otherwise, good luck and good hunting.